The following program contains flash photography. Viewers' discretion is advised.
To further strengthen the work that the United Nations High Commission for Refugees does, the DAYSTAR Christian Center has donated a total sum of 10 million naira to help refugees in Africa. It was a gathering of top members of the church, representatives of United Nations High Commission for Refugees, and media practitioners at the event, which held at the church headquarters in Lagos. Before the program took off, a short movie clip was shown to those present. It captured the outreach programs of the church, the Back to School initiative, distribution of food items during Easter and December 2000s, irrespective of religion and tribe.
Muslim lèmi o, ṣùgbọ́n a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run torí pé kíni gbogbo nǹkan jíjẹ òun náà ló ṣe pàtàkì jù.
This is the first time ever, and let me repeat, the first time ever we're having a church donate to the UNHCR, and I think that DAYSTAR Christian Center is right. A round of applause for that. Heading great things. It's about showing love. It's about service to humanity.
To the senior pastor of the center, Sam Adeyemi, the donation was a commitment towards restoring the resilience of families forced to flee across the continent. According to him, Christians must learn to touch lives in practical ways.
DAYSTAR Christian Center has been involved in community impact projects since its inception. DAYSTAR Christian Center was founded on November 18, 1995, with the commitment to help people discover and release their potentials, and through that process to raise role models, examples, leaders in the society. The church, which started with about 100 people, currently runs 5 services on the weekend with an attendance of over 40,000 people every week. In fulfillment of the church's mandate in January 2002, we established a school which we call the DAYSTAR Leadership Academy, where leadership principles are taught to develop a new generation of leaders for Nigeria and the world in its entirety. We figure that, like Dr. John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. We believe that Africa has everything it needs to create rapid development and to improve the quality of life for our people. We have 40% of the world's mineral resources, only 10% of the population. So we believe that we have the potentials. The missing factor is leadership, compassionate leadership, service-oriented leadership that will lift the quality of life of our people. So we established the DLA. The school offers basic and advanced certificate courses in leadership, and we've had candidates that we have sponsored from several African countries to attend the programs, including Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Gabon, Gambia, Mali, Senegal, Chad, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and several other countries in Africa. Our standards for excellence plus our unique course content have had great impact on the leaders from around Africa, and God is helping us to shape the leadership culture across our continent. Since inception, over 39,000 people have gone through the DAYSTAR Leadership Academy. Our Lord and Master Jesus Christ did not only preach to people, he touched their lives in practical ways. He healed people. In the process of doing that, he actually touched them, communicated his compassion, his love for them. He fed people that were hungry, visited people in their homes, helped the helpless, dried the tears in people's eyes while they were grieving. And we believe that really is the essence of the existence of our church.
It was an emotional country representative of United Nations High Commission for Refugees that responded.
The two words that I brought from Abuja is thank you.
The representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, while describing Africa as a center of solidarity, said the donation will go a long way in helping millions of displaced persons who do not have where to sleep and those without access to water and basic health care facilities.
Thank you is my first message to you because there are voiceless people out there for whom we are standing. And they are voiceless because they are refugees, because they are internally displaced people, and we have other categories of people that need somebody to talk for them. And the difference between being a refugee and being an internally displaced is actually just geographical. It means that people who have not been able to run away from Borno or from Adamawa into Cameroon, they run away inside Borno State, and then they become what we call internally displaced. But in that same state has created also refugees into Chad, refugees from Bagakawa. They have created refugees into Cameroon, refugees from all these areas such as Kalabalje, refugees from Mubi, Adamawa, Mubi going up. And they have also created refugees into Niger that have gone from the Moba part into Niger. So what do you have today is 112,000 Nigerian, I say, well, Nigerian, not Mozambican, Nigerian refugees in Chad. 112,000 in Niger, 10,000 in Chad, and 94,000 in Cameroon. And you have 2.8 million internally displaced people inside Nigeria. And we are talking of Borno mainly, but you also are talking of Adamawa and Yobe. Then, Senior Pastor, you also have 35,000 Cameroonian refugees in Cross River, Taraba, and Benue states. These are the people we are coming here to talk about. These are what one author called the wretched of the earth. These are the people who have suffered in their body the consequences of war. And when you're talking of consequences of war, it reminds me of a book by Chinua Achebe, Home and Exile. It's just the title. It's not like what is said in the book actually deals with exile. But just home and exile, or rather it talks about exile in a very romantic way. Refugees are in exile, nothing romantic about it. Or then you also have Ben Okri is another Nigerian author who has written in Riquezas Infinitas, and that's why I read that book, because I come from a country that immediately understands what it means, riquezas infinitas. And in that book, he was describing how an imaginary personality was looking at his father who was condemned for something he didn't do, and he was suffering for it. And he was also looking at how the mother was fighting to regain the freedom and bring the father back home. That is really the issue about refugees, is losing their homes, running away, not being protected, and needing somebody to talk to them. The second message I would like to bring here, Senior Pastor and other pastors around, is a message of human solidarity, because what you're doing here is human solidarity. And human solidarity does not look at the color, does not look at the religion, it just looks at the human condition and the need to help. You remember the tsunami in Asia a few decades ago where the entire world just went and helped. You remember my own country 2 weeks ago, the cyclone. We are also the object of human solidarity. People are coming and to help. And this is actually the second time, because the first time, you will remember that woman that delivered on a tree. I'm not too sure you know that story. There was a woman who delivered on a tree, and the woman did not drop that baby and stayed in the tree. It was all a sea of water until she was rescued. That baby today has a master's degree.
Yeah.
The senior pastor further called on other religious bodies to give a human face to what they do.
First, to the church community, that people's problems are actually our own opportunities to bring the power of God and the resources at our disposal to meet those practical needs. That is why the church exists. So we want to say to the church community, this is another dimension to the problems Jesus called us to solve. In our own country, there are 2.2 million people that have lost their homes, lost their means of living. They need help. They need food, they need blankets, they need health care. The needs are dire. Apart from that, they've experienced trauma. They need therapy. And we want to ask the church community, let's step in. This is Africa, our own blood. And beyond that, all over the world, let's intervene as much as we can.
Of the donation.
DAYSTAR Christian Center is becoming known as a church with a human face. In 2014, when some countries in Africa were battling with the deadly scourge of Ebola, the senior pastor made a call to members of his church to raise $1 million to eradicate the disease in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea.